Hello gamers, this is Tom Sidener, the Lonely Gamer, and today I'm going to talk to you about an interesting RPG that I picked up at Gen Con this year. And the RPG is Through the Breach. Through the Breach is an RPG based in the Malifaux universe, and I love the Malifaux universe, and I love the card mechanics that Malifaux used, but I never really loved the Malifaux miniature game. I'm not really a miniature skirmish player. I don't like measuring out to see where our unit goes and all of that stuff. So I played Malifaux for a while because a good friend of mine plays Malifaux, and I liked playing with him, but he moved away, and so I sold all my Malifaux stuff. But when I found out that Wyrd Miniatures, who is the maker of Malifaux, actually has put out an RPG called Through the Breach that uses the really awesome card mechanic that they use in the miniature game, I was very, very excited about this. So at Gen Con, I purchased the Fate Master Almanac, and then after I got home and I finished reading this, and it was a very good read. I always did like reading the Malifaux books and all the fluff in it, and this has just as much good fluff in it. I also bought the Fate Master's Almanac as well. And then I bought another module, which is In Defense of Innocent, and I'm actually going to use one of the monsters in that book for this example today. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to do an example of a simple combat. I have a Fated that I created. My Fated is a gunslinger, and he is the product of assassins. His parents were assassins. He has good pistoling skills. He has terrible might, but for my talent I took Flick of the Wrist, which allows me to use my grace instead of my might for melee combat, because in this game if somebody gets right up on you, you can no longer shoot at them. You have to use melee. My revolver that I got with my talent, because I'm a gunfighter, I was able to get a free upgrade to one of my revolvers. So for the free upgrade, I took a custom grip, and that's going to give me a plus on some of my shooting. Also, when purchasing my equipment, I purchased a bayonet to be attached to that gun as well. So the gun serves as my ranged weapon and also my melee weapon. So what I got here, I've got a custom combat grid that I made, which I think is going to make it a lot easier for me and the players that I play with when we get into skirmishes. This just gives us a little bit of a tactical thing for that. This little thing here is going to be my character. These are going to be two young Nephilims that I'm going to be fighting. Fighting two young Nephilims by myself is going to be a little tricky, so I may live, I may die. We don't know yet, but fate will decide. The Nephilim have 7 life, so this is the life for one of the Nephilim. This is the life for the other Nephilim. The life is the same token as what's on the board, so I can keep them straight. Also, the blue tokens are action points, and I have 2 action points, and they each have 2 action points. So I'm going to go ahead and get started, and we'll do a simple little combat, and we'll see how it turns out. So the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to draw 3 cards from my twist deck. This twist deck was created when I created my character, so I'm going to go ahead and draw 3 cards now. I'm going to show you what I got in my twist deck. I got a pretty good draw. So I got the 13 of Rams, and Rams are my specific suit. I got the 11 of Crows, and I got the 4 of Masks in my twist deck hand, and I'm going to be able to cheat fate with these cards. Now, one of my special abilities being a gunfighter is if I miss when I'm shooting my gun at somebody, I get to draw a card from my twist deck. So let's go ahead and we'll go into dramatic time. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to flip a card for initiative. The young Nephilim has an initiative of 9, and actually I'm going to bring this up here real quick. And I'm going to put this up to the camera so you can pause this if you'd like. But this will just give you a chance to take a real quick look at the stats for the young Nephilim. If you want to pause this and write those down, then you can go ahead and watch along with what I'm doing. So that'll give you an idea of what I'm fighting. I know you're not going to be able to see the cards, but I'm going to go ahead and call them out when I flip them up. And if I can find some card representations of a Fate deck online, I might put them down here or down here off to the side when I flip them. So here we go, we're ready to go. So the initiative for the young Nephilim is 9. My initiative is not very good. It's a 1 plus whatever I flip. So let's see what we get. Oh, I flipped a 12 of rams. So that's great. So I have a 13 initiative compared to their 9 initiative. So I'm actually going to get to go first. And getting to go first for me is very good because I want to try to get my gun out and I want to try to get aimed before they get a chance to do anything. So on my turn, I'm going to spend one of my action points and I'm going to unsheath my pistol, get it ready to go. I'm going to spend my other action point to do a focus. A focus is going to allow me to aim my pistol and it's going to give me a +1 to my next attack flip. The Nephilim are going to go ahead and go. They're both going to use both of their action points to do a run because they want to get up on me. Their only weapons are their claws and they want to be right up on me to attack me. So this one's going to use both of its action points to run, and run is your walk twice plus your speed. And they have a speed of 2 and their walk is 5, so they're going to move 12. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And then this one's going to do the same thing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, so they didn't get to me, which is really good to me. So now I can waylay on them with my pistol. So we're going to redistribute the action points. I have initiative, so I'm going to go ahead and take my turn. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to spend 1 of my initiative to fire my gun at this young Nephilim right here. I have a focus, so I have a +1 to my flip. I also have my custom grip that gives me another +1 to my flip. So for my first shoot action in this phase, I'm going to get a +2 flip, so I'm going to flip 3 cards. So I'm going to flip, I flipped a 13 of books, a 13 of crows, and a 6 of mass. Now I would have rather not flipped both of those 13s because that means they're going to be out of the game and that's going to make it harder for me down the road. But that's okay. I'll go ahead and take the 13 of crows. I don't have any triggers on any of my weapons yet because I'm just a level 0 character. So it doesn't really matter if I take the crows or the books. So I have beat the Nephilim. The Nephilim has a defense of 10 and I flipped a 13 plus my 6 on my gun, which is a 19. That's 1 away from a positive flip. But it is 9 over, so it is 1 success, so that's going to be a straight flip. So I'm going to do a straight flip for my damage. I flipped a 4. That's not very good, and since both of those 13s are out of the deck, I think I'm going to go ahead and cheat. So I'm going to cheat with the 11 from my hand, and I'm going to go ahead and do severe damage to that Nephilim. So I'm going to look on my chart, and my severe damage for my Rough Rider pistol is 4. So I'm going to do 4 damage to this Nephilim. Now, because this Nephilim is away from me, his bad blood does not kick into effect. If he was on me and I had hit him with a melee weapon, he would do 1 damage to me because they have like an acid blood, and that would hurt me as well. But because he's far enough away and I'm shooting him with my gun, I don't have to worry about that. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to shoot again. This time I don't get the plus from focus because I already used that, but I still get the plus from my grip. So I'm going to go ahead and shoot again. This time I'm going to flip 2 cards because I got a +1. So I flip a 2, which is not good. And I flip another 13. There's the other 13, so almost all the 13s are out of the deck. 13 plus 6 is 9, so that's going to be a positive flip. So I'm going to go ahead and flip 1 card for damage. I flip a 3. 3 is weak. My weak damage is 2. He has 3 life left. And I'm really concerned because if both of those guys get on me, I'm afraid I'm going to be in big trouble. So I am going to cheat again. And I'm going to cheat with my 13 to give him severe again. I don't need 4, but I'm going to do 4 damage and take him out so I don't have to deal with him. So I'm going to go ahead and cheat. I'm going to do the 4 damage to this Nephilim. Then he's out of the game, and I don't really have to worry about, fighting 2 of them at a time up close. The way I'm playing here is I'm playing that when the Nephilims hit 0, they're out of the combat. Now you can play where when they hit 0 that you can see if they fall unconscious, and if they don't, they take a critical effect. People are up in the air on whether or not you should do that with NPCs. I'm not going to do that here because I guarantee you if I do that here, I'm going to die. And for me to have a chance at this, I'm going to go ahead and just say they're knocked out and they're out of the combat. For me, if I hit 0, I will see if I'm knocked out and I will take critical effects. Okay, so I am done with my activation. The other Nephilim still has his activation, so he's going to spend 1 action point to move. He has a move of 5, so he's going to come right up here on me. And I think he could possibly do a charge. Let's see. So yes, I'm actually going to have him do a charge. So he's going to spend both his action points. He's going to charge at me, and when he gets right up on me, he's going to get to take 2 melee attacks at me using his weapons as long as they only cost 1, and they do. So he's going to go ahead and do a charge. So he's got talons. So now that he's attacking me, he doesn't flip. I flip to see if I negate the attack. So in this Through the Breach, one thing I really like is the Fate Master never draws any cards. It's always the Fated that draws the cards. The Fated draws the cards to see if they hit the person they're attacking, and they draw the cards to see if the person that they're attacking hits them, or if they deny them from hitting them. So the Nephilim's attack is an 11. My defense is a 5, so I need to meet or beat 11. So I'm going to flip. I flipped an 11 of books, plus my 5 is a 16, so his first attack failed. He's going to swing again because he gets 2 attacks with his charge. I flip a 3, plus my 5 is an 8, and that's a hit on me. So now that he's hit me, his level of success is a 3. Anything above a 1 for the bad guys, it's always a standard flip. So he's going to do a standard flip. He got a 3, which I'm really happy about. You cannot cheat that. I would love to be able to cheat that with a low number. I have a 4 in my hand. I would love, if he would have flipped a 13, I would have loved to cheat that with a 4, but that's not allowed. So you cannot cheat damage. So anyway, he did a weak damage to me, so I'm going to look at his weapon. His weapon does 2, 4, and 5, so I'm going to take 2 damage. I only have 5 damage, so I am now down to 3 life, and I'm going to have to do something to get away from this guy. Okay, so that's it. We're going to reset. I'm going to give 2 action points to the young Nephilim. I'm going to give 2 action points to myself. I have initiative, and so I'm going to take my turn. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to attempt to move away from this Nephilim. And the reason is because these young Nephilim have black blood, and if you damage them and you're within a yard of them, they're going to do 1 damage to you. And I don't want to take the damage because I only have 3 life left. So I'm going to use 1 action point to try to move away. Now when I try to move away, he's going to try to do a disengaging strike on me. So I'm going to have to flip a card and try to avoid an attack from him. If I don't avoid the attack from him, I cannot move. So he's going to make an attack on me. That's an 11. I'm going to flip the card. I got a 12 plus 6, which is 18. So he was not able to keep me from moving. And so I'm going to move my walk. So I'm going to move 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now I'm away from him, and now I can take a shot with my pistol. So since I'm away from him, I'm going to use my Rough Rider, which gives me a plus on attacks. So I'm going to flip a +2 attack on him. So I got an 8. And the Red Joker. So the Red Joker is a 14 plus my 6, which is a 20, which is actually 2 levels of success over him. So I'm actually going to get a positive flip on this damage, and that's really good for me. So I'm going to flip twice. I flip a 5 and a 1. That didn't work out so well, so I just did minor damage on him. So he's going to take, for my gun, 2 damage as minor damage. Okay, so now it's the Nephilim's turn. Because I moved away from him, I did open myself up for another charge, and so logically that's what he would do. So he's going to spend both of his action points. He's going to charge me. He's going to move up right next to me, and then he's going to get 2 attacks on me with his claws. So I am going to flip for his His first attack is an 11. I need to beat that with my defense, so I'm going to flip for my defense. I got a 10 plus 5 is a 15, so his first swipe missed. Now I'm going to go for his second swipe. I flipped a 12 plus my 5 is 17, and so he missed again. So that's really good for me. We are going to now reset. He's going to get his action points back. I'm going to get my action points back, and it is now my turn. So I'm going to go ahead and try to do the same thing that I did the last time. I'm going to try to move and shoot, because moving and shooting is the best thing for me to avoid that black blood. So I'm going to try to move. He's going to try to attack me. I'm going to try to beat that. It's an 11 attack from him. I got 7 plus 5. That's 12. I was able to move away from him. I'm just going to move back down here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then I'm going to take a shot with my Rough Rider. My attack is a +1 flip, so I'm going to plus 2 cards. So there's a 1, which is a definite miss, and a 6. A 6 plus my 6 on my shoot is a 12. So good thing I had that plus, because I was able to hit him. Now 12 is only 2 over his defense. His defense is 10, and since that's less than 5, this is going to be a negative flip on the damage. So I'm going to flip 2 cards. I flipped the 11 of crows, and I flipped the 8 of crows. I have to take the 8 because it was a negative flip, and so I'm going to do moderate damage to him. Moderate damage is 3 points of damage. Alright, so now the Nephilim gets to take his turn. He is going to do the same thing he did before. He's going to charge and attack, so he's going to use both of his tokens. He's going to move right up here on me, and he's going to take 2 swipes at me. So the first swipe is an 11, so I'm going to flip for my defense. So I got a 10, and the 10 plus the 5 is a 15, so that's a miss on his part. He's going to swing again. I flipped a 2, which is not good, because 5 plus 2 is 7, and that's a hit on me. And since, let's see, 5 plus 7, and he did an 11, so 7, that's 4. So that's less than 5, so the good thing is he just gets a straight flip on damage. So he flips a 12 for damage, which is severe damage, and his severe damage is 5. So he has just lowered me to 0. I need to keep that, because if I get a critical effect, it's based off of this damage. So the first thing I need to do is I need to see if I fall unconscious. If I fall unconscious, then the Nephilim is just going to eat me while I'm laying on the ground. So let's hope that doesn't happen. So my unconscious is a, let's see, it's a tenacity plus my toughness, and that is a 3. So I'm going to flip a card. It's a TN10 for unconscious, so I need to flip a card that plus 3 equals or exceeds 10. So I'm going to make my flip. My flip is a 7, and I have plus 3, so that's a 10. So I actually managed to stay conscious, so I'm not out of the game yet. But I did fall to 0, so I have to do a critical effect. The critical effect is based on the severe. He did a 5 damage to me, and I only had 2 life. So that's 2 extra damage that I have to add to my critical effect. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip a card. There's no cheating or anything. It's just a straight flip. So I flip a card, and I got a 6. I add the 2 that went below 0, so that's 8. And then I look on the critical chart. And on the critical chart, I have to use the severe chart, because the attack that took me out was a severe. And I look at 8, and that says, shocking blow, afflicted must immediately pass a TN20 unconsciousness challenge or be knocked out. Well, that's not good for me. So my unconscious is plus 3. I'm going to make my flip. I got a 5. That's an 8. That's far less than 20. My guy is knocked out, and I have now succumbed to the young Nephilim. And that's it. That's combat in Through the Breach. I hope that you enjoyed this. If I did anything wrong, I'm sure some of you expert players can let me know. Let me know in the comments, and I would love to know if I'm doing anything wrong, because I just learned how to play this game, and I really like it, and I think I did it correctly. But like I said, if I did anything wrong, leave me a comment, and I'd be glad to hear it. So that's it. Till next time, I'm going to try to do some more videos for this Through the Breach. So just keep an eye out on my channel, and I'll get them up when I can. So here's to you guys from the Lonely Gamer, Tom Sidener. Happy gaming.